The morning sun filtered through the cafe windows, casting warm streaks of gold on the wooden floor. The cozy aroma of roasted beans filled the air as customers chatted and typed on laptops. The peaceful hum was broken only when the doorbell jingled and a woman stepped inside, quiet, unassuming, and carrying the weight of 1,000 stories on her scarred skin. Her name was Claire, but no one there knew that. To the strangers watching, she was just the woman with scars. Her face bore deep marks, the kind that made people stare a second too long. Some looked away out of discomfort. Others smirked. She walked carefully to the counter, her limp noticeable but graceful, and ordered a small black coffee. Her voice was soft but steady, carrying a quiet confidence that didn't match her appearance. The young barista hesitated before nodding and forcing a polite smile. From the corner, two women whispered, not even trying to hide their amusement. "Look at her arms," one giggled. "She must have been in some kind of disaster. Or maybe she wants people to feel sorry for her," the other added cruelly. Claire heard every word, but she didn't react. Years of judgment had built walls around her heart. She simply thanked the barista, paid, and moved to a small table near the window. As she lifted her sleeve slightly to reach for her cup, something caught the eye of a man sitting nearby, a weathered veteran with a trimmed beard and a jacket full of military patches. His laughter from a moment earlier faded instantly. His eyes locked on the small tattoo just above her wrist, an eagle clutching a lightning bolt, a mark only members of one elite rescue unit would ever bear. His hand trembled. It couldn't be. Not her. The man's breath caught in his throat. His coffee cup trembled slightly as he stared at that tattoo, an eagle clutching a lightning bolt, the emblem of the 101st Rescue Division. It wasn't something you'd see every day. Only a handful of people in the world had earned the right to wear it. He stood slowly, his chair scraping the floor, drawing everyone's attention. "Ma'am, where did you get that tattoo?" His voice was low, cautious, but full of emotion. Claire froze mid-sip. No one had asked her that in years. She looked up at the man, studying the faded patches on his jacket. He was one of them. She could tell by the way he stood, the way his eyes carried both pride and pain. She set her cup down gently. "It was my unit," she said quietly. "The 101st Rescue Division, Afghanistan." The cafe fell silent. The whispering stopped. Even the barista paused mid-pour, watching the moment unfold. The man blinked in disbelief. "That's impossible. I served under Captain Reynolds." "You couldn't possibly mean." Claire nodded, her lips curving into a faint, knowing smile. "Captain Reynolds was my commander." The color drained from his face. He sank back into his chair. "Then, you're Sergeant Claire Mason." Her eyes softened. "That was my name once." Gasps spread through the cafe. One of the young women who had mocked her earlier quickly pulled out her phone, searching the name. Her jaw dropped. "Oh my God. She's the medic who dragged her whole team out after that ambush in 2013. She was declared missing for 2 days." The veteran's eyes glistened. "You saved my life that day," he whispered. "You carried me out of the fire. I thought you'd died." Claire simply smiled, her scars glowing faintly in the morning light. All eyes in the cafe were now on Claire. The same people who had mocked her moments ago sat frozen, unsure what to say. The veteran, his name was Tom, could hardly speak. His hands trembled as memories of that night in Afghanistan flooded back like a storm. Claire's voice was calm but heavy with emotion. "It was supposed to be a simple supply drop," she began. "But the convoy was ambushed on the way back. We were trapped in a valley. No communication, no air support, just chaos and gunfire everywhere." Tom nodded, remembering. We lost half the unit in minutes, he said softly. Claire continued, her eyes distant. Captain Reynolds went down trying to cover us. I ran back for him, even after the explosion hit. That's how I got these. She traced a scar along her cheek, her voice steady. Shrapnel. Burns, but I didn't feel it then. All I cared about was getting my team out alive. A hush blanketed the cafe. The two young women looked devastated, guilt washing over their faces. The barista, eyes wide, placed a fresh cup of coffee in front of Claire, this time with trembling hands, and whispered, "It's on the house." Tom's eyes glistened. "You didn't just save us, Sergeant. You saved me. You dragged me through the mud, bleeding yourself, and still went back for Reynolds." Claire smiled faintly. "He was my commander. You were my brothers. That's what soldiers do. We don't leave anyone behind." Tom swallowed hard. "I thought you died that night." "We all did." Claire shook her head softly. "No, I just disappeared for a while. Sometimes surviving hurts more than the battle itself." And for the first time, the room understood. Every scar told a story of bravery, sacrifice, and survival. Tom stood up, his chair scraping against the floor as he turned to face everyone in the cafe. His voice shook at first, but each word carried the weight of truth. "Do you all even realize who you were laughing at? This woman, Sergeant Claire Mason, saved lives. She's a hero, and you mocked her for the scars she earned protecting people like us." The cafe fell completely silent. The laughter that once filled the air had turned into shameful quiet. The two women at the corner stared down at their hands, faces red, unable to meet Claire's eyes. Even the barista, who had earlier smiled nervously, now stood straighter, her eyes soft with respect. Claire blinked, a little overwhelmed. "It's all right," she said gently. "They didn't know. Most people don't." Tom shook his head. "That's not an excuse. You shouldn't have to hide what you survived." A few customers began to clap softly. Then another joined, and another. Within seconds, the entire cafe was filled with applause. It wasn't loud or forced. It was heartfelt. A sound of gratitude. Claire's eyes welled up, but she didn't cry. She smiled, holding her coffee with both hands. "You don't need to thank me. Just remember that kindness costs nothing. The scars you see on the outside aren't always the hardest ones to carry." One of the young women slowly approached, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I judged you without even knowing your story." Claire reached out and squeezed her hand. "It's okay. Just promise me something. Next time you see someone who looks different, look closer. You might be seeing courage, not weakness." The girl nodded, sobbing quietly. And in that small cafe, everyone learned a lesson that would stay with them forever. Never judge a soul by the scars they wear. That night, as the cafe lights dimmed and the last customers left, the story didn't end there. One of the bystanders, a college student who had witnessed everything, posted a photo online. It showed Claire's scarred hands wrapped around a steaming cup of coffee, with the caption, "She was laughed at for her scars, until a veteran recognized her as the hero who saved his life." By morning, the post had exploded across social media. Thousands of people shared it, and millions read the story. News outlets began reaching out, calling her the woman behind the scars. Veterans from around the world commented with gratitude, many sharing their own marks of survival, some visible, some hidden. Claire didn't expect any of it. When a reporter finally found her at the local animal shelter where she volunteered, she looked genuinely surprised. "I'm not special," she said quietly. "I just did what anyone would have done for their family." But her humility only made people love her more. Soon, her story became a symbol, a reminder that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it speaks in quiet kindness, in forgiveness, and in the courage to face each day despite the pain. The cafe that once fell silent in shame later hung her photo on the wall, not as a customer, but as a hometown hero. Beneath it, a small plaque read, "Her scars tell a story, one of courage, compassion, and the power of never giving up." Every time a stranger walked in carrying their own invisible battles, they found hope in her story. Because Claire Mason taught the world something unforgettable. You never know the battles someone has fought, until you stop judging and start listening.